Okay. I just adjusted the volume in-game. Hopefully it's good. I can turn it up if need be. Oh, we're starting. My name is Trixie Glimmer Smith. Oh, was I not supposed to click? Right. It's 2 weeks to my coursework deadline. Time to start this report on Blue Hill County cultural exports, 1800 to 1900. So, if anyone's played Parsnip, this is a follow-up to Parsnip. Mini sodas are annoying. It takes so many of them to fill a glass. It's true. So, unfortunately, a bug lives in my brain. And whenever I hear about Minnesota as a state, I think about Pokemon Mewtwo Strikes Back, when they're surprised that there's Vikings who are able to take them to the island. And Ash responds, "Oh yeah, there's still Vikings around, but they're mostly in Minnesota." It's lived in my brain since I was a child. Just downloaded this one and thought I would like it, but it's also a VN, so I didn't know if you'd play it. I also wasn't sure if I would play it on stream. Okay, so Parsnip is a game I watched forever ago, which is a chill, frolicking type of game until it isn't. Parsnip crashes on modern hardware, though, does it? It can't be that old. She's cute? She is! This is Trixie. By the way, gender dysphoria exists in this game. It gave me the content warning, so I give the content warning to everyone here. Also, welcome back, Banana. Never heard of Parsnip until I showed you this. You're not just a rat, you're my rat. Do we need to know Parsnip lore? It says you don't, which is good because I barely remember it. Actually, the top comment for this game on itch is, "My rat girlfriend showed me this and I fell in love with it immediately," or something like that. I sat and stared at the brief for about 10 minutes. Okay, no more slacking. It's time to get to work. I noticed I just clicked onto a 2-hour video essay about memes on video.com. Rat's your girlfriends? I've already got, like, 2 of them. Are you ratting Cass? Are you ratting Cass right now? Your rat girlfriend is showing it to you right now? It's true. You're a rat now. There's a Unity Engine 4 bug that modern Unity Engine 4 gives redistributables that break old Unity Engine 4, and old Unity Engine 4 doesn't download the old ones. So it's theoretically possible to get the old redistributables, but difficult. I see. I noticed I had just clicked... Oh. Before I had any more time to be distracted, there was a loud knock at my door. I jumped, knocking my cereal over. Milk and chocolate-covered sugar flakes spilt across my generic student accommodation carpet. Plants are squeaking in you. You're surrounded by rats being forced to see this at rat point. Gender dysphoria, you never heard of it? Should I put it in video game terms? Someone outside yelled. Trixie, Glimmer Smith, open up. We have something to discuss. I don't know who Nikita is, so we don't... Voice is temporary. I recognize the voice. It was Nikita. My course's top student. We didn't talk often because she's kind of horrible. I slammed the spacebar and quickly opened up a website about sheep. It wasn't really relevant to my work, but I hoped it might look educational enough to make Nikita judge me slightly less. Nikita scared the crap out of me, and I didn't want to keep her waiting, so I ignored the puddle of chocolate milk seeping into my carpet and opened the door. Oh. Never heard of gender before? Can you explain it in terms of Magic the Gathering keywords? Okay, so when Watsy prints a creature, you liked when I said Nikita? When WotC prints a creature card, they assign it a type. Sometimes multiple types, and that's okay too. And that type often affects how other game pieces treat this creature. And how this creature perceives itself often. Oh no, she's doing it! Now, sometimes, especially when WotC was less informed, they printed a less informed, eventually it was realized incorrect type on a card. So later, they were able to work together to find a more appropriate type line. It's like banding. Wait, no, that's polyamory. Yeah, banding is polyamory. When your artifact creature gets assigned a creature type, Erida. That's true. We need to get back to allowing creatures to be untyped. Nikita immediately marched straight into my room without asking, and I ended up back onto my desk. Wow. Right, Trixie, you have to do me a favor. Her eyes briefly glanced at the cereal puddle, but quickly locked onto me like the lasers of a sniper rifle trained on my skull. I instinctively sat back down in my chair and looked up at Nikita. I probably looked pretty subby. It would almost be kind of hot if I wasn't a fucking loser. Briefly reconsiders whether or not I missed any warnings before launching this game on twitch.tv. There's still one creature with no subtype. Shrines and vehicles, that's true. Zuko as well. Or it looks like Zuko. Fear, Blight, Shadow. Just like you, for real. Hi, Nikita. Look, Trixie. If I hadn't bailed you out last term by doing your coursework for you, you'd be fucking dead, right? I mean, you'd be living in a bush and eating dirt because you don't want to go home to your family and admit you fucked up your education by sleeping through an entire term. I mean, that's a little harsh. I'd also been playing video games, writing raunchy fanfiction, and growing breasts. It would be nice to get some recognition for that for once. Not Zuko as well, it just looks like Zuko, I see. I know it was. But listen, my point is, you owe me big time for literally saving your life. You want to live in a bush and eat... you want to live in a bush and eat dirt. Unless you have to tap to activate it, then it's mono amori. But you deserve... No, Banana, you're beautiful. I cherish you. You're my darling Hexakiri. She came in, started blasting. You've done a great job growing breasts, Allison. Thank you, Cassidy. I worked really hard on them. You didn't literally save my life. What the fuck? Whatever. Look, I just want you to find me a play script. It's easy. If you love her, get her a nice bush. I mean, you can live in the bush if you want. Well, no, I don't want you to live in the bush. You can have a bush as well. But you're an indoor pet. When the tapped artifact does nothing at last, that's mono amore. Oh, is that all? I mean, sure, I can do that. I guess you did help me out a lot, right? She could have just come in and said, like, hey, can you do me a favor? I need you to do this. Trixie didn't even, like, resist. Sorry, it's just you were being really aggressive, so I assumed you were going to make me kill someone or something. Abby, maybe. You hate her. Miss Knight is a try-hard bitch, wasting everyone's time by running against me for student president, but I don't need her dead. I didn't know what this game was gonna be like. You can have a bush as well. Thank you, Fractal. I need to keep her around to make me look good. Abby keeps psychic crystals in her bra to prevent lunar interference, which I'm pretty sure isn't even a word. It's a pretty low standard to make you look good. I felt pretty bad saying that. Taffy was really nice, even if she was a little quirky, and didn't really notice me. That said, interference definitely isn't a word. I'm not very likable, so I need all the help I can get. I don't know, there's something about her. Anyway, shut up. Your laptop is playing a video called Sheep Falling Over Compilation 6 while your coursework paper is titled, and I quote, Starred Soon. Your push is getting scheduled. So are you going to help me, or am I just going to have to never bail you out of one of your fuck-ups again? I glanced at my laptop. EpicSheepFalls.com wasn't as educational as I thought. Fine, what do you want exactly? More specific than just a play script. Last night, I was walking back from the library when I noticed some paper fluttering about. I don't usually make a point of picking stuff up off the floor, but something drew me to it. I picked it up and realized it contained writing. I read it right there in the courtyard. When I finished reading, I stood in silence for some time. I'd read an excerpt from The King in Yellow. I don't know how it got there, but I'm certain if that page was there, then the rest must be nearby. A surviving copy of the infamous cursed play. Do you realize how important that is? You love sheeping over compilation 6, but 4 is better. You're such a sheep falling over gatekeeper. I'd heard rumors of the King in Yellow, and of the ghastly writings within. I very much doubted Nikita had found a page lying around at university. Copies were meant to be impossible to get a hold of, supposedly all lost, hidden, or burnt long ago. Wow, I always assumed that play was kind of a myth. Are you sure it was legit? Maybe you just found part of someone's fanfiction? Nikita slammed her fist on my desk with a bang. I know it's real. Sorry. It's okay, you're probably right. Only a real loser would write fanfiction about the King in Yellow. The completed play would be of immeasurable importance to my studies. I could write my entire thesis analyzing how it has affected folklore both locally and worldwide. I can't believe this is the second King in Yellow video game I've played. I need the full copy. Now, after the initial shock of finding it set in, I started sneezing. I concluded there must be some kind of allergen on the paper. I happen to be allergic to exactly one thing in the world. Not being a bitch. What the fuck up? I'm allergic to daffodils. You love the King in Yellow? Here's the thing. I'm gonna confess something. I did not think the King in Yellow was an actual play. I thought that it was a fictional play described in some Cthulhu mythos book at some point. Big Yellow is booming in the noble fashion industry. Dork? No, that makes me less of a dork. Daffodil Lane is a few miles from here. I happen to know the lane has a lot of daffodils, hence the shitty name. Given their relative rarity elsewhere in the county, I believe the page may have originated there. It is, Allie? Well, I didn't know that. I literally found out it is? Oh, you are correct? Oh. It's a fictional play? Well, is it also a book? Almost as dumb as thinking dogs' noses are wet so they can smell better. The book is about the fictional play. Okay. I didn't realize it had its own book. There is an actual book of the same name. See, that makes sense. No. I thought, like, The King in Yellow was a play referenced in some other work. I just didn't realize it's an entire own thing. Getting the scenes for it right now, you're all invited. Oh, wow. That sounds wonderful. Oh, yeah, it's actually the third King in Yellow video game I've played, if Scald Against the Black Priory counts. It's referenced in a lot of works. Yeah. Including this one. Yeah. I played a bunch of them. It helps. There's science on Wet Dog Noses. Book was written by the guy who... It is actual Lovecraft. And he wrote King in Yellow, which is about the play that drives people mad, just like Cthulhu. Book about Cthulhu. King in Play... The King in Yellow is a fictional play referenced in a different work, a book called The King in Yellow. There's no actual script for The King in Yellow. Yeah, I know that. How was my, like, presupposition correct, and I'm still getting, like, made fun of? All I said was I didn't know that it had its own book. I'd rather avoid going there myself. I'm too important to get mildly uncomfortable. You sure are. Besides, I'm busy brainstorming slogans for my new student union presidency campaign, because I'm easy to bully. That's fair, I suppose. Predates Lovecraft. But it's been grandfathered into Lovecraftian lore. Wait. Am I learning now for the first time that Lovecraft wasn't the original Cthulhu guy? Right now I'm thinking knowledge through unity. Unity through Nikita. Oh, jeez. Whatever. As a thank you for saving your life, you're kindly going to Daffodil Lane and finding the rest of that play for me. Good? Thanks. Lovecraft is the original Cthulhu guy. King in Yellow has nothing to do with Cthulhu. Gotcha. Lovecraft was a child when King in Yellow was published? Oh, you're right. You thought it was written by Lovecraft. Okay, that's what threw me off. That's what had me confused. Teaching Allie about all this is really fun. What do you mean teaching me about all this? Lovecraft was 5 when King in Yellow was published? Personally, when King in Yellow was published, you were 2008? Wow. You were 2000 and late. I wasn't convinced there would be anything to find, but I kind of wanted Nikita to leave my room before she noticed I'd left some of my underwear on the floor. And I hadn't agreed yet, but fine, I'll go. Let's watch Angel's Egg? Absolutely. Stop being so rude to me. It's not a good work relationship. Fantastic. Thank you for being so accommodating, Trixie. I'll let you get on with it. I have some books to read. Nikita brushed some dust off her shirt and left without a goodbye. According to my laptop, it was still pretty early. I guess I should get going. I may as well get this over with so Nikita stops bothering me. Found some snacks. I knew I would need them on my quest, errand, whatever this crap was. 20 pack of cheese ropes. Is this actually a mouse? I kind of thought she was a rabbit. Fucking love artificial flavorings. Me too, Trixie. Ellie's story time, where we read The King in Yellow and Dunwich Horror and Call of Cthulhu. They're in public domain after all. Actually, that's not a bad idea. I'm learning that I like reading things to people. Found my phone under an old shirt. Not that it came in much use. I can basically take calls and receive messages after... Oh, it can basically only take calls and receive messages after years of wear and tear. Phone's light flickers unless you constantly shake it like a maraca, so I brought along a torch as well. Torch seemed like one of those things it was good to have when you're looking for things. In retrospect, should have made sure it had batteries before I left. I crammed everything into my bat bag. A lot of people accuse me of having a bat fetish because of all my bat products, but it's not true. I just like that bat cartoon, Cyber Draculias from space, from a few years ago, but there's no official merchandise for it, and these bats were really cute. You would actually really like that? Reading is nice. Anyway. Got distracted by my laptop for a while. Well, like 3 hours. But I got a lot of work done. Kinda. So, this hasn't been revealed in-game yet. But they show Trixie's, like, character bio. No bat fetish, she just likes that cartoon. She writes fan fiction for that cartoon. X herself. I'm realizing I do actually just like reading things. I need to find more opportunities to do it. People actually like that. I can look more into it. 2-hour trek through the countryside during the worst heat wave in a century took its toll on me. I've never been good with summer. I usually just hide inside, so I'd underestimated how hard it would be out in the sun. Yes, please? What's wrong with that? It'll be perfect for eeping. Well, I guess part of it is... And I feel like this about visual novels, too. I get a little bit in my head if, you know, I'm not taking away a gameplay element from you. Then I feel like I'm doing a disservice to the game by just putting all the content out there. And the only downside is you have to listen to my voice read it to you. Unless you mute it, I suppose. It would be nice having EP text unlike the usual stuff she reads you. What, the normal stuff I read you doesn't relax you or anything like that? Oh, I meant writing yourself into fanfic. Oh. Well, I'm just saying, I think maybe she might have a bat fetish. Or maybe a fetish for that specific cartoon. But the book is already out there. That's the best part. Exactly. I don't need to feel any guilt for just reading a, like a public access work. There's a lot of it I haven't read. Really like King in Yellow? It's mainly like the first third that you like, basically a collection of short stories. You kind of started feeling lost after a few of them. That's fair. It's also about here that I realized I never cleaned up the cereal on my floor. I did eventually reach Daffodil Lane. I took a little rest in some shade and got my bearings. Yeah. I hope the weather gets worse soon. I could use some rain to cool me off. I took a look down the lane from my vantage point. 4 quaint little cottages dotted the dirt road and all at the far end. And at the far end was the tree line of Blue Hill Woods. I'd been in the woods once before as part of my course. They were old and filled with interesting landmarks. I considered taking a walk in them once I sorted out the play stuff. It was probably cooler under the trees. It's Parsnip! Still think about the intro to King in Yellow quite often. A small, rather eccentric-looking rabbit appeared behind me while I was distracted. Before I could say anything, he let out a weird yellow string. Or he held out, rather. Since we're such great friends, I made you a friendship string. Friendship string was about 6 inches of tattered yarn, seemingly dipped in yellow acrylic paint and sprinkled with what appeared to be sugar. It was faintly disturbing on a level I can't communicate, even after everything else that transpired in the following days. Started with a poem. You're not going to spoil it in case you will read it? Oh, thank you. Now that's a bun. That's a bun. I should have known. Parsnip, famously a rabbit, famously a boy, despite how he looks. I added sugar so you can taste it if you get hungry. I hope you like it, best friend. He seemed proud of himself. I kept it. This is what I would do. If someone did this, I would be, oh, thank you so much. I would keep it and dispose of it once I'm out of their sight. Confused, I took the stream out of the rabbit's paw and held it up for a closer look. It looked just as bad up close. I sugared your string so you can eat it. Oh, that's so sweet. What the hell? What do you mean? Monster? No, no, no. I let them think I'm going to keep it. You would treasure that? I don't know this rabbit. I tucked the string away into my bag. Thanks? So who are you? Hi, I'm Parsnip, and that's my cottage. He dropped a paw at the nearest cottage, one with a well-kept daffodil patch in front of it. A small sign with my cottage was written on it, stood in the path next to it, clearly marking the cottage as someone's cottage. Never giving me anything again? No, I know you, it's different. I keep the things you give me. It stays on your nightstand by the bestest of your items. You're never giving me moth string as a present? No, I'm familiar with all of you. It's different. Hot pick. You have every item Ali gave you in your backpack. Oh, hi, Parsnip. My name's Trixie. I'm looking for a book that might be around here. Have you heard of The King in Yellow? Wow, I love yellow. Oh, wow, it's my favorite color. Okay. Well, it's good that you like yellow. The book, though, do you know it? I don't read books. They're super boring. I'm Parsnip, and I'm a fun bun. Oh, yeah? Are you a... I love Parsnip. Parsnip's great. Their previous game was all about Parsnip. If you're interested, it's free, and also apparently really difficult to play on modern hardware. Yellow's pretty good color. She's kind of based. Oh no, Parsnip's a boy, despite all appearances. Your backpack is reserved for only the most important items. Aw. Wanna come play with me? There's no yes. It's okay. They barely mentioned it in this game. I tried to distract him. This was getting too weird. I wanted out. Wow, look at that. I pointed into the distance. Parsnip just stared at me. I'd much rather look at you, new friend. Oh, okay. Well, I can't come play with you right now, because, like, I have to find the book for my friend, remember? Why does he keep panning in from the side of the screen? Wow, that sounds really exciting. You're like a detective. Oh, I mean, it's more like an indebted servitude kind of thing. Wow, cool. That's amazing. He's like the dog in Puss in Boots. Are you referring to death? Before I could begin to formulate a response to Parsnip, the sound of a cuckoo clock blared from inside his cottage. It was loud, even from a good 50 foot away. Do you want one? I'm not offering. I'm just curious. Imagine that Trixie keeps trying to look away, but instead of standing still, Parsnip jumps back into sight. You're probably right. The dog, not the wolf. Allie, please. You've seen that film, right? Yeah. I've seen both of them once, like forever ago. Like the cat in Puss in Boots, whatever his name was. I can't remember. Uh-oh, it's time for trumpet practice. Is that actually how you spell practice? Am I dumb? It must be. think I'm just revealing myself to be dumb. His name was Cat. I'll talk to you later, new friend. He merely skipped off to his cottage. Matthew. I like Matthew. Hey, bye. I crossed Parsnip off my list of potential owners of a forbidden play. Crack dice. Nikita Kotig. Name was Puss. That doesn't sound right. And his girlfriend is Kitty. You clearly haven't seen the animated series. He didn't seem like anyone who'd own anything that required reading. I started to walk down the lane, past the out-of-tune trumpeting blasting from Parsnip's cottage. I'm not convinced he even had the trumpet the right way around. I figured I'd try the next cottage. It didn't look as well kept as Parsnip's, but I could see some art easels set up in the garden, which piqued my interest. An arty person might have a copy of an evil play just to make a statement. It's true. Puss in Boots, yeah? Contextual reading skills? Nah, it doesn't sound right. His girlfriend... No, girlfriend was Boots. Read the title. Oh, you're right, actually. Be cool, an artist. I can relate to them. I drew a picture once. So true. I approached the cottage and caught sight of a rabbit lounging in a deck chair, smoking and drinking wine. Classy. She was tall, stylish, and pretty. I was pretty hyped to meet what I assumed to be a famous artist. Either she didn't see me or chose to ignore me. I noticed her cigarette wasn't even lit. Hey, hi. I waved nervously. I wasn't used to talking to professional artists who were probably rich. Oh. I can't tell if she's doing better or worse than in the first game. She told her sunglasses down slightly to look at me before pushing them back up. Hello? I trailed off. My head felt light from the heat. I swayed side to side, starting to regret not bringing a drink. Sorry, I don't have any water with me, so I'm a little out of it. Anyway, like, I just walked down from university and... Wait, you walked all the way here from the university? Without any water? In this heat? Thought his name was Ogre. Ogre and Donkey. Oh, yeah! Remember letting out a quiet yes and collapsing, but not much else until I woke up a few minutes later. Rabbit's face was looking down at me from her deck chair. She looked mildly concerned, but apparently not enough to move me from being face down in the dirt. You fainted. Are you okay? I think so. Could I maybe have some water? I brought some out for you already. Your chat is cooked. No, you're just easy to bully. This is a safe space for Donkey, it's true. We're stewed and broiled. Mashed even. Nui. She motioned towards a glass of wine on the ground beside me. That's wine. Rabbit went wide-eyed under her glasses. Oh, so it is. How did that get there? She picked up the wine and shuffled shamefully into her cottage, returning a few moments later with some tap water. Thanks. I downed the water and felt a little better. It was pretty stupid of me to not bring any with me. I realized I hadn't introduced myself and thought I'd better do it before it became too awkward. Hi. Hello. I didn't do a great job of it. I'm Trixie. La Rose. There was a frosty silence. So, sorry to bother you. It's just I'm doing someone a favor. They think there's a copy of some old playbook around here, The King in Yellow. Can't say I've heard of it. Are you sure your friend didn't say Daffodil Library? You know, the one in town? I really worried she had. No, I'm pretty certain she said Daffodil Lane. I don't know where it could be, though. I asked, Parsnip next door? The rose seemed to grimace at the mention of parsnip. Just remember the first short story you wrote was about the moon disappeared because you didn't know which lunar phase it was supposed to have when the government extended the year into a 13th month to artificially make their GDP look better. When did you write that? You spoke to Parsnip? Are you sure? You look like you still have the will to live. Probably 19 or 20. Fair enough. I didn't, but that was unrelated. I mean, yeah, a bit. Is he that bad? I mean, he's a little excitable for sure, but Rose's blood pressure looked like it was rising rapidly. I got back on topic. I decided it was best to change the subject. Anyway, sorry, the book. You haven't seen it? She shook her head. I don't get out much, though. If it's around here, I probably wouldn't see it. I didn't even realize my neighbors were missing until the police came knocking. First thing you wrote that wasn't for school was MLP fanfiction. That is awesome. Awesome, even. Haven't thought about that for a long time. I wrote some cringy things in my teen years. Actual rubbish, I'm willing to say. But I'm glad I did, I suppose. Just for the experience. Oh geez, the squirrels, yeah. Didn't it turn out they just went on a cruise to the Pacific Islands because they're rich and got bored? It was on the news for ages. No. I accidentally started the rumor that they just ran off to go on a cruise during the school term. Probably true, they were rich. Rich people do that stuff, right? I don't think she was expecting an answer. Look, I was brainstorming, okay? It's not my fault the police just took that as a fact and ended the investigation immediately. I'm sure they're all fine. The police just dumped all the evidence they collected outside and left. What does ACAM stand for? Two of 4810. Good night, Bunny. I'm excited to hear your continued progress on the bundle. You made a DeviantArt. You made one fan art of Trixie, and then you were so embarrassed you removed it and deleted the account. I wish I deleted my DeviantArt account. All cops are mice. No. All cops are monsters? All cops are messy. Point is, you could go poke around in the boxes if you want. They won't care. Maybe you'll find your book. Huh? Yeah, maybe. I asked a little more about the area. You also deleted your DeviantArt? Honestly, just as well these days. Is there anywhere else around here an old playbook might be hiding? There's the woods. Pretty big, though there's bound to be at least one book in there. Yeah. She picked a big blow of smoke from her cigarette. Anything big, just by statistical chance, would have a book in it. The larger the area, no matter where it is, the better your odds of finding a book. So I'd avoid them if I were you. They're dark, nasty, and no one lives there anyway. Well, I mean, there's a beehive, but they're a bunch of authoritarian jackasses, so they don't really count. I tried to go paint there once. They got pissy with me. The swarm of fake socialist mini-dictators. Not a whole lot on the road either, besides a sheep field and some fucked up magpie. No, this place is kind of boring. That's why I moved here, to get some space. Didn't work. Cyberbat Wildstar always used to say, space is where you make it. I love her. Alright. Does that actually mean any... No, not really. It's from some cartoon. So wait, where did you used to live? Before you moved out here, I mean. Town. I teach there. Oh, you're one of the art history lecturers at the uni? You teach the Blue Hill art history classes in second year of regional history and culture studies? I do that course. I'm sure I might have seen you around. I teach preschoolers how to use glitter pens. Shattered. Oops. Anger seemed to burn under her surface. I was worried her wine bottle would shatter in her vice-like grip. They don't appreciate my art. Decided to run away before I said anything else stupid. Well, anyway, sorry to bother you. I'll go take a look at those evidence boxes. Have fun. She went straight back to staring off into the distance. I let her get on with it and headed over to the neighboring cottage. LaRose was right. The police had left their investigation unfinished and just ditched the evidence into a couple of boxes. Fortunately, summer had been dry. Summer had been a dry one and everything seemed to be in good condition. I poured through one of the cottage's windows, peered even. It was definitely deserted. It was probably a pretty nice place when it was looked after. I could see the occasional bit of half-eaten food laying around the floor, making a mess of the otherwise cozy middle-class countryside retreat. Started sorting through the box labeled Kitchen 1. Most of it seemed to be old bits of snack packaging and half-eaten food. Gross. Fortunately, most of it was so artificial it wasn't even capable of molding. Interestingly, a DVD copy of Jenny Jason's archery training time for the Game Machine 100 also had a large bite taken out of it, and the toaster seemed to have lick marks on the grill. An entire box of sugar acorns seemed to have been emptied into the box, coating everything with a thin layer of nutritionless dust. Someone had been very hungry. Next box, Kitchen 2, only had a couple of gas canisters inside. Guess they were for the cottage's stove. I don't think Daffodil Lane has much in the way of actual infrastructure. Last box, labeled Kids Room, contained the only interesting stuff. My eyes went straight towards a small games console and a selection of video games. I spotted one of my favorites, Gun Attack 2. Oh, hey. This kid is one of those little fuckers who always screamed abuse at me when I tried to play that online. Actually, I probably should I shouldn't refer to a possibly missing kid as a little fucker. That feels a little wrong. There are more sweet wrappers, though the kid had clearly diversified their diet by eating crisps on special occasions. It doesn't seem the type to collect old play scripts. I doubt it would be in here. In fact, I don't think there's a single word in this box that isn't a brand name. As I said this, I realized I was wrong. There are some very obvious words in the box. I don't know how I missed them before. On a small paper booklet, scrawled and faded felt tip writing read, "There is a monster near the woods." Underneath was a crude scribble, vaguely resembling a crouching figure with a woolly, thick body and 4 eyes. Some kind of imaginary monster. Or maybe a wool suitor, I thought. Oh shit, that's ominous. Handwriting was childlike and shaky. It couldn't have been more than a month old. It was probably written as part of some silly game, I thought, but that didn't stop it from filling me with dread. What's that monster? I realized the message was written on the front of a small scrap of paper booklet. Looked like it had been written and illustrated by the kid. Squirrel Warrior Princess Adventure. Squirrel Warrior Princess was on an adventure to save the Squirrel Princess Dragon. She went through the hills, and there was a monster shaped like a woolly person. Squirrel Warrior Princess shot him with a bow and arrows and won. "That is what you get if you are my enemy," said Squirrel Warrior Princess, said Squirrel. She drove her car, big car, fast, and reached the castle Grimskull. "I am here to save you, Squirrel Princess Dragon," said Squirrel Warrior Princess. I swear this is how it is written. Anyone not reading along? I'm trying to be accurate. She went through the castle and used her gun to shoot the bad enemies, and she went up the castle. No one can defeat me. I amped the strongest warrior, I said. A skeleton popped out, but Squirrel Warrior Princess punched it, and it fell down and cried, and I laughed at it. That was really brave. Thank you for saving me, said Warrior Princess Dragon. She flapper her dragon wings. She was dragon wings and can breathe fire, but she's a squirrel. You read words? They played video games together and one single player on Medulian of Hunher the End. Inspiring. I decided it was best to leave before I left too much more incriminating DNA on everything. I felt pretty sure I wasn't going to find the play amongst that junk, and I wasn't breaking into what was technically still a crime scene on Nikita's behalf, so I headed down the lane to the last cottage. I strolled past the sheep field. The silly creatures were absent-mindedly chewing on grass, as sheep are apt to do. It looked like a refreshingly simple life. The field was overshadowed by a large tree. There seemed to be a few shiny pieces of jewelry trapped high up in the branches. Maybe it was one of La Rose's art pieces? A ragged nest was perched high up near the top. It looked deserted. Probably where that fucked up bird La Rose had mentioned lived. Cottage at the end of Daffodil Lane was a bleak building. The windows and door were all boarded up, its interior was dark, and the entire building had an uneasy aura around it. Compared to its scenic surroundings, this place was a septic sore. I remembered the child's creepy message. If there was anywhere near the woods a monster would live. I was almost relieved to realize I had no way of getting the boarded up door open. Oh no, there's no way I can get into this cottage. I'm so weak and brittle. I felt a little cowardly as I went out of my way to half-heartedly tug at one of the planks. Fortunately, I had never been strong, and estrogen was further reduced my ability to pull planks off of things. Well, that was conclusive. I can't possibly get these off with my weak little arms, just like you for real. Damn you, estrogen, making it harder for me to pull planks off of things. I almost used this as an excuse to get out of doing Nikita's busy work, but without her help, I knew I'd fail my coursework. I wasn't going to go home a failure. I'll forever regret not taking the excuse. I should get a crowbar or something. I think that's how people get planks off of things in, like, games and stuff. I'll head to town. I'm sure I can find some boring old person shop that sells tools there. I'm so weak and feeble. I dusted off my hands and started my hike back to town, somewhat regretting never learning to ride a bike. Oh wow, she is just like me. Monster near the woods would have to wait. It was a long walk back to town. Still, the exercise was probably good for me. I hadn't spent much time in town since moving to Bluefields. Too loud and busy for me. I was looking for a tool shop or something when I noticed a small shop called Heidi's. Don't believe Banana? I have heard she's surprisingly strong. You wish bike was pronounced like zine? You want to ride your zine to market? In the window was a big poster. All crowbars, half price. Uh-huh. Oh. You're bikey. Wait. You pronounce zine as zinny? Meepy's a known liar. I have never caught Meepy in a lie. You're Weeble? That was convenient for sure. Shop seemed empty. Hello? Is anyone here? Why is... Ziny, just like Zany. I'll defend your right to pronounce it Ziny. Or Bikey. Nothing. There was a door behind the counter, slightly ajar. I guess it led to an office or something. Maybe the owner's in there? Look around the shop. That's a normal thing to do. Guess I'll just wait a while. Looked around the shop. It seemed to sell everything. Magazines, tools, sweets. Pricing on everything seemed to be almost random. I had no idea how Heidi was running the shop this way. I took a look at the vending machine in the corner. It didn't have a window, so I had no idea what was in stock. I gave it a tap. They're clearly labeled. Oh, what's in stock, though? Fuck! Ah! You like the little ferret mink stalls? Me too. I want one of those, but I want it to be full of, like, thermal beads so I can put it in the microwave and wrap it around my neck when I get a sore neck. You also pronounce obstacles like Aristotle's? Obstacles? In the traditional Greek? I could think too hard about what happened. I noticed a cute cyber Draculias from Space Plushie, the only bit of official merchandise ever produced for the show. They've been taken off the market because they contained lead, but it looked like Heidi hadn't gotten the memo. Hey, don't break that! Obstacles. I dropped the plushie back onto its shelf. A hyena had stepped through the door to the back room. Either her spots were dyed red, or she was spattered in blood. I assume this must have been Heidi. That's the sickest thing I've ever heard. Sorry, aren't those, like, toxic, though? Jeez, who are you? The PC, please? Well... She smirked. I think she was trying to make a joke. She tried. It's Allie. It's me. Also, I think your vending machine yelled at me. Yeah, it does that. Anyway. I like how her face constantly changes. Welcome to Heidi's. How may I help you today? That only looked and sounded extremely forced. I saw the poster for crowbars. Could I get one? It was an exceptionally fake laugh. I was a little worried I was being mocked. Sorry, kid, I sold out a few hours ago. Unlucky. I'm overstocked. Typed an extra 3 zeros into the supplier site. Ended up with 2,000 of the things. Had to start selling them off dirt cheap, but then the supplier just bought them all back. Guess they want to resell them. Still, made a good profit off it. Those suckers. Nope, there it goes. She paused for a moment, doubt flashing across her face. She started counting on her fingers, her grin quickly turning into a frown. She recounted, then recounted again. Oh my god, she is me. Those fuckers! I made a 4,000 pound loss. Oh, should I start reading this entire game in a British accent? Mr. Crowbar's fucking dead. You seem to remember I was there. Anyway, you want a crowbar, right? What for? You don't look like the DIY type. No offense. Dude, I can't believe she has 4,000 fingers to count on. She's really impressive. It was a little offensive, although admittedly very true. I need to break open a door. I realized that probably sounded pretty suspicious. Isa. So I tried to defuse the situation. I'm not a burglar. It's my door. A strange mix of resignation and confusion appeared on her face. You accidentally boarded up your own door. I admitted I was breaking into an abandoned cottage. Okay, I'm breaking into a house, but it's abandoned. It's urban exploration. Albeit in this case, very rural. Oh, sweet. I don't give a fuck about that. I just don't want to end up complicit in your breaking into someone's house and kicking them to death. I was relieved she was going to let me have a crowbar, but also slightly offended that I apparently look like a very inefficient murderer. I'm such a what? Heidi dashed through the door behind the counter and quickly reappeared with a crowbar. This is one of my personal crowbars, and I need my others, so if you somehow break it, don't come begging for a replacement. I don't offer warranties. I look like a very efficient murderer. Thank you. My acidic body can dissolve anything. It's 15 pounds. I rooted through my pockets and realized I'd forgotten my wallet. All I had was about 3 pounds in coins and a Demon trading card, which was a little odd since I don't even collect those. I kind of forgot my money. You forgot you needed money to pay for things at shops? Yeah, I guess. You accept trading cards? She didn't look amused. She drummed her fingers on the counter for a moment. Okay, whatever. What if you owe me a favor? I love owing people favors. One of her personal crowbars. It's like a legendary relic. Now, see, this is someone who I would treasure their personal crowbar forever. More so than the friendship string. I hoped this wasn't going to be a weird sex thing. Well, speak for yourself. It's not a weird sex thing. Don't make that face, pervert. I suddenly resented my naturally pervy face. I often regret my naturally pervy face. She's a little Tom Nookish. Maybe just a hair. It absolutely has some sort of secret power. I wasn't thinking that. What was it you did want? Nothing crazy. Just helping me sort some extra stock. Usually I have to do it myself, but 2 hands are better than 1, right? Oh my goodness, Nova, hi. How was your stream? Thank you so much for the raid. Hello, Nova. Hello, Sulfurado. Hello, Starily. How was it? How was Eugenics? Also, of course, if you want to take a break after streaming, absolutely do that. Make sure you take care of yourself. It was good. You accidentally starved some cats. Hey, it happens. I'm Ali. I play a lot of like indie and retro games. This time it's more indie games. I'm checking out the No Ice in Minnesota bundle. Someone got it for me for a surprise, and I'd figure I'd play some games from it while it was still active over on Itch.io. This is the third one. It's shoot, what is it actually called? The Testimony of Trixie Glimmer Smith. It's a follow-up to Parsnip, if anyone knows that one. So it's like a VN with maybe some cosmic horror undertones. Definitely some cosmic horror undertones. Horse language so far, and who knows what else. Also, I am remembering gender dysphoria things. Like the art a lot? Me too. I'm actually having a wonderful time with it so far. Very nice treasure chest find. First, you'll have to sign an NDA. Or not. What do I care? I have a taser. It didn't sound very exciting, but I need the crowbar, so I didn't have much choice. Fips acquired. Nice fipshing, Nova. Thank you so much for the raid. Nice chest. I wasn't going to say it like that for once. Okay, so as long as it's just something small and legal. Another unconvincing laugh. I think it was supposed to sound friendly. Yeah, it's fine. It's small, it's legal. Did you just try to fake a reassuring laugh? Fuck off, it was real. Give me your number so I can get a hold of you. I gave her my number, hoping I wasn't about to end up crossing any borders with 5 kilos of counterfeit electronics hidden in my clothes. Because I knew it'd be too awkward to say no to that. Great, I'll give you a call when I need you. I prefer it to texting. Easier to shout. I love her constantly shifting face. And don't try to get away for free, I have a taser. She put her hand out for a handshake. I guess she wanted to seal the deal. I limply shook it with my puny little arm. Sure. Thanks for the crowbar, I guess. I'll see you soon. I left the shop armed with a crowbar, reflecting on how I seemed to operate entirely on a favor-based system these days. Oh well, I thought. It was cheap. I was pretty hungry, and as I walked through town, my eyes were drawn to a small shop called Greg's Bakery. The shop had a charmingly decorated exterior, albeit a little cutesy for my taste. I gazed at the food on display at the window, and I'm pretty sure I drooled on myself. It looked really good. I really needed some sugar. What about your friendship string? Hi, welcome to Greg's Bakery. I'm Greg, and this is my bakery. Greg has sharp fangs like a bat, which is nice, though obviously that isn't important. It's Greg! I know things about this thing. I love this thing. Oh, hey, I'm here to eat cakes. Do you sell cakes? I don't know why I asked that. I knew they sold cakes. I'd just been drooling over their display. Oh, sure we do. I make them all fresh every day. Do any catch your eye? If you decide you don't want a cake, I have plenty of other pastries and treats for you. An iced bun, a pizza slice, a donut, vegetable roll, a bag of sprinkles. It's GGG, Greg. And a Sonic Cupcake, $99. The choice is yours. They seem nice, albeit a little hyperactive. I kind of suck at buying food, especially when there's so much choice. So I was glad to hear the door loudly open behind me and distract Greg. Hiya, Belle. The usual? You betcha, hun. How's work going? Great, thanks. It's been a quiet day so far, but now I have 2 customers at once. Exciting, huh? What was it you wanted me to get you? They just... Oh, they were looking at me and I still hadn't decided what I wanted. Can I get, I've been cut from another milk delivery route, Greg. Can you believe it? What? No way, another one? How come? The distraction gave me a chance to pick something. My eyes scanned across the cakes, desperately trying to choose one. My old manager left a few weeks back, and the new one is, semi-competent? He noticed it was taking me the entire day to do the morning run, and that they were paying me to deliver the empty buildings. She still has no money. That's a good point. She's got £3 and a Demon trading card. Maybe he takes trading cards as payment, maybe. I was like, no way, my contract says I have to, but he read my contract, and it doesn't. The contract excuse had worked flawlessly for like 4 years, so I had no backup plan. So, yep. I'm just delivering to North Acres since they refused to let us deliver via drone like we do everywhere else now. I'm almost obsolete. Good job those... I don't know what that means. Good job those NIMBYs are keeping me in a job for a little longer. Sure, there's something in a bakery that's at most £3. Maybe a small cookie. I don't know. How much is £6 in Australian dollars? Like 6.50? I think I could get like a single cookie for that. You should be able to buy milk with a $4 Yu-Gi-Oh card. We should bring that. Should bring back barter. Oh no, North Acres? I've heard bad things about that place. They aren't so keen on outsiders. A sucky situation. Aw, heck. Have your food on me. They placed Belle's order on the counter and canceled the payment. 2 large coffees and 4 vegetable sausage rolls. Pretty impressive lunch. Oh, you're too kind, hun. I'll make it up to you. North Acres ain't so bad. I just ignore the locals and they don't hang around. I accidentally right-clicked and it opened a save menu. I think she must have noticed me staring at the cakes, slack-jawed. Oops. Sorry for pushing in, hun. I'm not used to there being other people here. It's pretty quiet most days. Oh no, I'm sorry. I got distracted. What was it you wanted? I remember turning to look at them, wide-eyed in fear. I asked for a cake. That's what she initially saw that drew her in. Rimpy jump scare save menu beloved. Thought you had a save redeem? I don't have a save redeem. I do have a save emote, though. I should make that free if I haven't already. Or is that just like... It just goes to this screen when someone redeems it? Okay, I'll save. You're gonna ask me if I want to overwrite. Okay, good. That was too quick for my taste. I asked for a cake. I wanted to try one of the iced cakes with a cherry on top. They looked really nice. Cake. I jabbed a finger meekly at a random cupcake. One triple chocolate muffin coming right up. This wasn't going to plan. I picked up the muffin with some tongs and slid it into a paper bag. Any other cakes, drinks, or savories? No! A cheese bake, maybe. I'll get another muffin, please. Great choice. She still has no money! Bill was looking at me, munching on one of her rolls. She seemed amused by my inability to buy cake. I don't think I've seen you around town before. What's your name, hun? Oh, I'm Trixie. Trixie Glimmer Smith. I only moved here a few months back, and I don't get out much. Nice to meet you, Trixie. The name's Belle. She stepped forward with her arm outstretched, and I shook her hoof. It was really clunky and awkward since she didn't have fingers. Hope this ain't too presumptuous, but if you're looking to make some friends here, you're always welcome to come down to the Attic Mouse, the bar just around the corner. That's me, I'm the Attic Mouse. It's always nice to make some new pals, you know? Especially if you're new to the area. I sometimes go with Belle, but I've been too busy with the bakery recently. Everyone there is super nice. Very gay, too, so you can just be yourself.
Yosh.
Sorry, I tapped my microphone. I was too excited about the very gay Attic Mouse. Thank you for the Fats cast. That is not homophobia. I'll have you know, Automod. It is homophilia. Nice Vaporeon. I guess we're lucky to live in the queerest town in the country. I mean, not officially, sure, but heck, you try finding someone here who isn't queer. You love gay. I mean, this might not seem at first glance like a normal conversation. I have often described a product or location by its level of gay. At a point, everyone I met here was pretty fucking gay. Thanks for the invite. I'm not too good with social stuff, though. That's fair. You're always welcome to come along, though, hon. Just thought it'd be nice to let you know there's somewhere you can go if you need it, you know? I realized it was getting late, and I still had to walk back to the cottage. I gotta go, sorry. I dropped some coins on the counter and ran out of the bakery. I hope I paid enough. She did not. I heard the pair say bye to me. They both seemed kind of nice, albeit a little scary. They were the friendliest people I've ever seen. I had to take a short break to recover from gorging on about 5,000 calories of muffin, but I eventually reached the abandoned cottage at the end of the Daffodil Lane. Managed to pry the front door open with the crowbar, which was tough given my complete lack of muscle mass. Regardless, I got the door open and tossed the crowbar away. No! That's Heidi's crowbar. My weak little arms couldn't carry it anymore. Oh yeah, I don't think that crowbar is fitting in the bat bag. Unless it's like, you know, slipped into the straps or something. The crowbar is visible, is what I'm saying. Without waiting around, I stepped through the dingy portal. Oh, no tossing. I was immediately hit by a wall of stale air and decay. It is so full of mold. Sorry, I stopped being able to breathe for a second. This place is disgusting. I flicked my torch on and finally realized it had no batteries. Frustrated, I chucked it on the floor. Litterbug. I have to rely on my eyesight, which had rapidly been deteriorating since I started staying up till 5 a.m. using my laptop screen as my only light source. Thought that was great to begin with, given my condition. The building was dim, with a few shafts of light piercing the boarded windows. It looked like a basement door was slightly ajar. Cold and unpleasant stench seemed to crawl from it. I wanted to spend as little time in this place as possible. I decided to take a look around the ground floor before heading downstairs. Stepped into what seemed to be the kitchen. Water dripped from the wooden ceiling into the sink, which was close to overflowing. Water was dark and still. A few tufts of wool floated on the surface, stained a dirty brown. A gross smell seeped into the room from the pantry. I carefully pried it open and was relieved to not find any dead bodies. Drink the water? What the hell? Instead, I found a small garden's worth of decomposing grass melting into a pool of green, frothy liquid. Dual pools of water are always safe, Yippee. I am not signing off on this advice. Gross, what? Who'd keep grass in their pantry? I poked around the pantry, trying to uncover anything else that might be hidden. The very back, buried under some of the decaying grass, I found a tin of pineapple rings. Best before date was over 2 decades ago. Front depicted a happy pineapple mascot. Eat me, he said. Sorry, nappy pineapple abomination. Happy pineapple abomination, even. But I don't think I should. Besides, I don't have a can opener. Alright. We're crouching in on last ad break. So I must away for just 3 minutes. I'll be back very soon. Welcome back. We're in the horrible, dingy, boarded up home. Welcome back, Isa. Welcome back, Cassidy. Welcome back, Hero. Can't believe that Japanese folklore predicted the kappa. I love that it does the kappa emote in that question. Bedroom was evidently plainly decorated years ago, but was now completely derelict. A bookshelf stood against one of the walls, but it was almost completely empty. The only books remaining were Manners for Girls and 7 Plants I Saw, an adventure story. I decided not to read them. Like the kitchen, the window here had been boarded up, though I noticed that the planks seemed to have been taken from the bed's frame, given that the mattress slumped onto the floor. Okay, so I was thinking I would just play through to one ending of this, but I was kind of hoping I could just do that in the time I had left with it, which it doesn't quite look like the case. So we're probably going to go, until our normal time, and then we'll pick it up. If we'd started this earlier, we probably would have just played it through. Pile of tools on the floor looked like the likely culprits for the renovations to this place's windows. I noted one of the tools was a sturdy crowbar. Went to all that trouble getting a crowbar when I could have just broken in here and got one for free. You sure could have. The tools looked old, but judging by the relative cleanliness, appeared to have been used recently. Next to the bed was a small dresser, and on top of that, a picture frame. I wiped the dust away from the photograph to reveal a woman probably in her 40s. The photograph itself had that old-fashioned faded look to it, and her hair looked very 80s. Guess this lady must have lived here before abandoning the cottage. Doesn't look like she properly packed when she left, though, given that a load of her stuff seems to be here. There's a loud groan from upstairs, the settling of the cottage's timber frame, I told myself. Regardless, it gave me a scare. The place really has me on edge. Hurry this up. Bathroom window was broken, and one of the boards seemed to have fallen off. A black feather was snagged on one of the nails still left in the frame. The water tank that was probably meant to be above the toilet had fallen down, littering the floor with smashed ceramic shards, and leaving a moldy, damp patch spreading from the toilet's gutted remains. The bottom few inches of the bathtub were stained brown, as if it had been full of rancid water for some time before being emptied. The plug hole was matted with wool, almost like a spider web. This is nasty. What's wrong with this place? No wonder it smells. I was cut off as the house groaned, as if settling. Only then did I realize how weak the floor seemed to be in this room, and I stepped back. I had no intention of falling through into whatever waited for me in the basement. I returned to the living room, where I had first entered the house. I hadn't really looked around it when I first got here. It was totally trashed, the furniture was a mess, the floor was covered in junk, and some water appeared to drip down from the attic onto the sofa, which was coated in white mold. What looked like blood stained the floor and seeped into the musty sofa. It couldn't be more than a month or two old. This isn't good. Hopefully someone just had a minor accident, which made them lose about 4 liters of blood. It's old, though. I'm sure any murderer who lived here would have left ages ago. The smell probably drove them off. I stepped a little further into the room and almost tripped over something. A video game cartridge? It didn't look as dusty or decrepit as the rest of the house, and definitely wasn't old enough to be from the previous owners. Some brown hairs and white wool blocked the pins, and the image printed on the front was scratched but still readable. Gunshoot 4. Nice, I really enjoyed Gunshoot 3. Left it. It looked pretty gross. Cartridge looked kind of sticky and nasty, and this cartridge wasn't exactly clean. I decided to leave it there and avoid the potential tetanus. On the ceiling, a small trapdoor led to the attic, but there didn't seem to be any way up to it. I only now noticed the harsh carvings had been dug into the wall and inlaid with golden paint. Dozens of identical eyes had been watching me. I found myself drawn to them. The house suddenly shuddered, and I almost collapsed. It's probably full of spores, so no thanks. I regained my footing. Thankfully, the house had remained standing. I realized I was stood directly in front of the scrawlings, mere inches from the largest of the eyes. That's strange. I'm sure I was on the other side of the room when I noticed this mess. I must have stumbled over here when the house shook, without realizing it. I stepped back and turned away from the drawings, deciding to avoid them for now. There didn't seem to be much more to see on the ground floor, and I still hadn't found that book. There's only one thing for it. I'd have to go into the dark, dingy basement. I forced the door open on its rusty hinges and made my way down the stone stairs. The decaying air grew worse with each step. Better not take long. The air in this place is probably cutting years off my life. It probably is. The stairs emerged into a large basement, almost as big as the entire ground floor. My eyes were immediately drawn to the horrific scene at the center of the room. How are you lighting this place? What is this? Are those... 2 skulls were positioned around the chipped remains of some kind of symbol etched into the floor. I better look around quickly. I don't want to stay here much longer. Closer examinations, it was clear the skulls belonged to a pair of squirrels. Shame if the spores TF'd you. Oh gosh, so much for La Rosa's Pacific Cruise theory. These both seem adult-sized though, which means the girl is missing. Hopefully I don't find her here. The skulls were undamaged, with no indication of how their owners may have died. Strangely, I don't recall having seen any other bones around the cottage. I decided to leave them to their rest. Not that I'd been brave enough to do anything other than nervously stare at them from a distance anyway. The most obvious thing in the room thoroughly examined, I took a look at the rest of the basement. Not that kind of spores, I think, sadly. What a shame, we'll have to keep looking. This whole room looked like something from one of those trashy horror stories I'd read. It was uncanny. Part of me hoped this was just the settling of a really well-decorated LARP. But I felt pretty sure it was wishful thinking. Could transform a loaf of bread, though, into a moldy loaf of bread. That's true. It can transform a loaf of bread into more mold. The basement was littered with black and white feathers. It looked like a bird had been in a fight, but with who? Probably the most out-of-place thing in this murder basement was the small collection of dry cake crumbs scattered across the floor. Despite there only being a slither of cake left, I felt my stomach tighten. A deep primal part of me knew it was a bad cake. I took a closer look at the symbol. It was etched into the stone with some kind of tool and gilded with golden paint. It depicted one of the eyes I'd seen painted upstairs. It was no less unnerving here, especially given the rest of the room. You can be bread. You can, it's true. You're so good at it. I blinked, and my mind returned, full of fuzz. I knew something about the room was different. I just started at the floor for what felt like hours, desperate not to see what might have changed. But eventually I knew I had to be brave and looked up. The walls of the basement were blanketed in hundreds of yellow eyes. I could feel every single one burn into me, staring deep into my soul. My mind ached. I closed my eyes and counted to 10. With each increment, my mind fuzz grew louder and more erratic. When I opened my eyes, my mind felt quiet once more. The walls were blank. And yet, I couldn't shake the feeling I was being watched. What's going on in this place? Hey, breathe. I need to get outside. Gross air is messing with my head. I probably have like 5 terminal illnesses now. Spoopy. We're in the spoop zone. Okay, so I know so far it looks like I spent a week running errands and stuff, but trust me, I have my reasons, as I hope you'll soon agree. This is where things get a little hard to recall. But I'll do my best in the interest of proving why I'm going to need a few weeks extra to finish my coursework. Thanks for reading this far, by the way, faculty admin team. I appreciate it. Thanks. There was a loud screech, and the cottage above me started to shake and creak. I heard a long groan as the basement door shut. The cottage continued to shudder. I could hear furniture topple over and slam against the walls above me. I need to get out of here. Before I could make a move, whips of golden mist curled around the 2 skulls. They jerked around to face me before lifting off the ground, as if pulled by puppet strings. Squeak. No? The floating bones remained motionless in the air, their eye sockets boring deep into me. Stolen release beyond betrayal, cloud, waves, Carcosa. The skulls called into my mind, a rasping voice that felt as if it is coming from within my own thoughts. Upstairs, the cottage continued to shake, the sound drowning out even my breathing. But the voice remained clear. Carcosa. The rabbit betrayal, how blue starlight Carcosa. Carcosa, the dread city trapped forever under the red skies of the Hyades. The stolen crown jewel of a long-forgotten empire, the setting of the King in Yellow, that much I knew. If the play was anywhere, it would be here, but that was hardly at the forefront of my mind at this point. A spire, broken body, Carcosa. What are you? I am the abomination, the malformed stock, the accursed meat, filthy, unclean. Trapped Carcosa, the ashen streets, the dying slumber beneath the lake, forever, and yet free. Smash? No. Please, I didn't mean to disturb you. My friend made me come here. She wants to play the King in Yellow. At the mention of the King in Yellow, the skulls imploded with a loud crack. The eye sockets split, the craniums almost appeared to collapse into themselves. I stumbled backwards, almost falling as shards of bone and tooth rattled onto the stone floor. The cursed play, the stolen, the monochrome prophet, the broken royal. They had stolen it. A new owner for the play found. Trapped Carcosa forever, and yet I walk again. We will meet again, small white rat. Oh, she's a rat. They're always a rat. The skulls dropped to the floor with a loud crash. The golden glow dissipated, and as the room fell silent, I could feel myself toppling towards the cold floor as my mind disconnected. Whoop, there she goes. My eyes slowly opened. A feeling of grogginess and nausea had taken over my body. I felt my mind spin. I could make out grass fluttering gently in the breeze. I looked up. A sheep gazed down at me as she chewed on some grass. As I stirred, she wandered off and left me be. A cat? Took some time to properly come to, but I soon realized I was crumpled in the sheep field on Daffodil Lane. The moon cast white rays across me, and I wondered how long I had been there. Ugh. What happened? It was there I slowly started to remember my time in the cottage, the decaying rooms, the black and white feathers, the strange symbols, the blood, and the two skulls speaking into my mind fuzz. How much of that actually happened? My eyes slowly started to focus on the grass beside me. There's a box of some kind. Or was it? I squinted at it. Whatever it was wrapped in a shiny yellow skin. That cottage was so spooked out, it was. Reached out a weak hand over to it and ran it across the top of the box. My suspicion was confirmed. It was snakeskin. My hand curled around the back of the box and felt paper. Book. You love it when people speak into your mind, Fuzz? Yeah? I grabbed it and pulled it above my eyes where I could see it. Embossed in black amongst the yellow scales was a title, King in Yellow. I stared at the playbook. How'd it gotten there? It was held shut by a golden ribbon, but it would only take a second to undo it. I started to reach for it, my fingers feeling the soft silk. Suddenly, a bird screeched a horrid caw. I jumped, almost dropping the book on my face. Far away, sat in the big jeweled tree, a strange, mangy-looking magpie stared at me. I had thought of the feathers in the basement. It was hard to tell at this distance, but it seemed to be staring right at me, wide eyes reflecting white moonlight like mirrors. I was about to shout over at it, but it took off and flopped away into the darkness of the night. I lay in the field a while longer and watched the woolly sheep munch on the grass. The King in Yellow held tightly against my chest. Eventually, I managed to pull myself up, started the long walk back to my room. I messaged Nikita and told her to meet me in the morning. She was still awake, presumably working on her campaign. She seemed pretty set on retrieving King in Yellow right then, but when I told her I wasn't going to get back out of bed, she begrudgingly agreed to wait. Shut the play into my bag and turned my phone off, eventually settling into a disturbed sleep. My dreams were dark and confused. I was helping out Greg's bakery. The walls were decaying and moldy. Greg lifted a finished pastry from their tray and took a bite. They seemed to like it, but from the treat leaked a trickle of red liquid. Greg looked at it, and then at me with wide, scared eyes. Blood began to leak from Greg's mouth. I screamed in silence as it flooded the room and drowned us. Bright light pierced the congealed blood, and the bakery melted away into somewhere new. Why did this wiggle? The scene collapsed into itself, and I stood in the abandoned basement. I saw myself as a skeleton, a golden glow surrounding me as I turned to dust and cackled maniacally. A horrible, dirty bird looked down at me from the top of a withered tree, with branches like tangled thorns. That eye drawing must be a Phyrexian symbol, it must be. This all takes place in Mirrodin. It opened its beak to caw at me, but no sound came out. The bird broke into wisps of cloud vapor and dissolved into the dark night. I looked down at my hands, and in my hands was the King in Yellow. The bird's caw finally sounded, and I looked up. Where once was the tree was now a misty shoreline. In front of me was a spire of gleaming ivory, but before my eyes I saw it rot and decay. Behind the terrible city rose a great moon. Mist dripped from it as it emerged from a lake of cloud. The black stars of the Hyades hung above me, pinpricks of oil in the red sky. Watching me from across leagues of rolling white waves stood the solitary figure of the king in yellow. He seemed to travel towards me, closer and closer, as his tattered wrappings flapped in the wind. His long bony arms stretched to remove the pallid mask, and I knew I had found myself on the path to a truly terrible fate. The 80s. That's right. I woke up. I'm going to overrate my save. And we will finish this. You've met with a terrible fate, haven't you? Hades aren't going to take care of themselves. I'm trying to decide when. Maybe tomorrow, but definitely soon.